Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is Tech in Transport. Well, hope you all are excited about what's coming up, what insights that is coming from our NGO speakers. And without further ado, let's move on with our first session, which is a talk from NLPTF. I pass on the stage to Zach and Tom.
Hi.
Yeah. Do you have the
You all
share
can hear
screen?
me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good evening. Okay. Um, Now I'm going to give you all an introduction to MLPTF, which stands for Malaysian Land Public Transport Fan Club. So, um, MLPTF is a community of passionate individuals who share a common love for public transportation. Whether you are a frequent commuter, a transportation enthusiast, or simply someone who cares about the future of mobility in Malaysia, you'll find a warm welcome here. We believe that public transportation is the backbone of a modern thriving society. By providing the benefits of using buses, trains, and other modes of public transport, we aim to encourage more people to choose sustainable mobility options. Joining us mean becoming part of a vibrant community of like-minded individuals who share your passion for public transportation. Connect with fellow enthusiasts and share your experiences and exchange ideas on how to improve and innovate our public transport system. We also believe in the power of education to drive change. Through depot visits and other outreach programs, we aim to educate the public about the importance of public transportation and empower citizens to advocate for better transportation policies and in investment. Um, and without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our fellow member, Mr. Kwong Tunan, to give an in-depth overview and mechanics of our homegrown database, which we affectionately call Transport. Over to you, Kwong.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, audible.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. No, sorry, it's morning for me. Good evening, everyone. Um, yeah, so as what Zach said just now, MLPTF is being done by a bunch of very passionate, or sometimes when I jokingly tell people, I would say very crazy individuals that run the community. We have a bunch of people that track trains. So basically, what that says is what that is that they will look at trains all day on an LRT station. So seeing trains pass through, and then some people will estimate the times. Some people will record down um, what this train is when it is here, and what is the situation of that train. So for example, one of our members, Vincent, he's very passionate about recording um, trains wheels. So for example, he will say, oh, this train has a really bad wheel. So from there, we can probably estimate and say, okay, this train will go into maintenance by like 2 weeks. Some of them are very passionate about the advertisements there. So some will say, oh, we have this Qpai train advertisement. Yeah, I think it's quite a meme for us for some time. They will say, oh, there's a Qpai advertisement here. Some will say, oh, there's a Genshin advertisement here. There's a Merdeka livery on this particular train. So they will track all of these different trains, and then put it down in an Excel sheet. So I'll just talk about how the site came to be. So yeah, let me share my screen. You guys should be able to see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. So initially, we have this Google Sheets effort. Oh, sorry, Google Sheets effort being let me go to the top. So we have this checklist. Okay, greetings and welcome to this particular database. So as you can see, we have persons of contact, Vincent over here, and Mirza in charge of the buses. This is our official email. So initially we have this Google Sheets. We have this tracking of each particular train sets. We have different status. We have tallying. So this thing is actually very linear, and it does not really show the change of each train sets. So for example, we can see, okay, this thing is not spotted, and then this is the last date spotted by who, and then there's a remark, and that's all. We don't know, like, for the last set of not spotted, how long is it not spotted, and then if there are other notes for these sets. So this thing was ran for, I think, a few months, and started by Vincent, which is not here today. But yeah, so we had this Google Sheets effort. We but Vincent collaborated with this group called Amtrak Malaysia Train Rail Enthusiast Club for quite some time. And then due to some issues, they actually misused our sheet, and then we were forced to open a new sheet, which is what you see here. So the property of our sheets is basically very easy. It's open, definitely open. So we stand by the point that everything that we do is by the community, for the community. So everything, including the source code, should be open. So after we opened a new sheet, Vincent continued being in charge of this sheet, updating it every other day. And I looked at them and said, okay, you guys need something to record the sheet, the train sets. I need a project for my portfolio. So let's do communism. You benefit from my side, I benefit from your data, because the philosophy that I have is that, number one, I don't do anything that's already available on the market. So I search around to track this. Initially, I thought of this thing called Airtable. So Airtable is basically a GUI for a GUI-ish table database, what we call no-code database. So I initially thought of that, and I said, okay, we need this, and yeah, no-code does not give us enough flexibility. So I said, okay, let me just do a site. So I think I spent 2 weeks to 3 weeks to learn the internals, ins and outs, and also to design the site, because I am very paranoid about the UI and UX. So I did quite a long time to research what libraries I should use, what kind of interaction should be done. So if you go to the transport site now, you can actually see that it's like this, but actually the design changed about 3 times based on feedback of mainly our users, especially Vincent, because he spots it every day, he uses it every single day. So from him, I can understand what a power user needs. So yeah, this site was launched about June 2022 as a open beta, and then we collaborated and we started to iterate everything since then. So yeah, this is the Google Sheets, which is still actively being updated by Vincent. Let me hide this thing. Yep. So he also did this run number sheets, which I have no idea what is it about. But yeah, they record their stuff. I continue doing the site. Yep. So so this effort was extended to cover Sarawak Metro. Everything is not spotted because no one lives in Sarawak, at least in our group. And also we have this station, escalator, elevator record. So we have what is the escalator type, where is it, the serial code, as you can see from the bottom of the escalators, what's its status and when we see it and by who. So this was initially done by this guy called Danny. You can see Danny here. And I haven't really got the time to integrate this into our site, but yeah, it will be in the future. And also we have tracking of rapid bus. So we have it here. The BYD K9, what is the plate number, when it's spotted by who is also the same thing. And also this is the same with buses. So we have a lot of people collaborating on this sheet. And sadly, I haven't got enough time to integrate buses into sorry, haven't got enough time to integrate buses into our database. So yeah, so if anyone has any questions, do raise your hand and do write it in the chat. I'm not sure if you can see the chat or not, but yeah, I think Vendik will tell me. So wait, give me a moment. Yeah, so what does the site have for now? So if you go to community.mlptf.org.my, you will be automatically directed to our transport site. So transport is actually like a name play between transit or transportation and spotting. So as all projects go and as all programmers go, we tend to fight over what the name should be. Yeah, so this is basically a 1 or 2 week fight between what we should name this project. But yeah, now when I think of it, it's actually quite fun. So jokes aside, yeah, so on the top here we have a bunch of different lines, as you can see. And when you click on it, you can go to a list of all the models and all of the train sets we have on this particular line. So for example, we have Kajang line, sorry. Yeah, we have Kajang line, and then as you can see, we have 58 trains in total, but only 37, which is like half, 63% in service. The rest are either unknown. Unknown means there's quite some time since we saw them. For example, but we didn't see them in the depot. We didn't see them outside. We didn't see them parking elsewhere. We didn't see probably them on the social media. So we basically track this, and then Siemens Inspiro is the model. And then from here, what I did was there's actually a filter here where you can click it and you can filter based on in service. You can add out of service, remove in service. So now it's only here, and so on and so forth. So we have, so if any particular vehicles has a spot is being spotted, you can see how many times it's being spotted and the wheel status of it. So this wheel status, oh sorry, oh well, you guys still can see me. So this wheel status is a recent addition, also requested by Vincent, to track how are the wheels in this particular train. So it's separated into flat. Flat means MLPTF people correct me if I'm wrong. So flat kind of means we need to probably send them into the depot to what we call reprofile the wheels again. Worrying means it's very worrying that we should go in. And I'm not sure if we have it here, the status. There's this meme that we say, oh, it's already an earthquake. So when you ride on MRT, this enthusiast will go from the start of the train to the end of the train to listen to each particular coach, the wheels beneath them. That's why I say they are crazy, right? Who else does that? But the world needs people like them, right? So yeah, you can expand here, and over here, we have some notable incidents for this particular train. So as you can see, you can see the first aid scene in service, last scene before disappearance, and then after that reintroduced. So the UI library we have, I will phase it out quite some time later when I have time, because as you can see, it's quite restrictive, and it's not really that nice on its connections. Yeah, as you can see here. But what works now works now. So let me just wait. Yeah, let me record that. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we have notable incidents in this particular line. We have a historical spotting entries here, which will load when you scroll to the bottom. And over here is the gallery, which people can upload their photos, which does not work now. Reasons why, I will talk about it later. And over here, the maintainers can add their notes. And, we've been tracking this for almost 2 years now, 1.5 years now. So, yeah, this is what Transport have. And then, as us programmers, we love the dark mode. Yeah, this was requested by Zach. Yeah, so this is the profile. You log in by Google. You can follow a system team, blah, blah, blah. It's not that important. We have an about page to, contribute to our collective here. Basically, Open Collective is a site where you can accept donations and have an open ledger on what is happening there. So of course, we give the team bragging rights here, and we put out tech stacks and our open source stuff here. Okay, so we have transport and we have this thing called incident. So this incident project, as the name suggests, provides a space where we can see how long each incident lasted or when it is happening. So over here, we have this particular day, we have Kajang line signaling failure. And for this long, how many minutes the duration is. And of course, over here, as all incident display system has, will have this last updated thing. And over here, let me zoom in. Yeah, over here, we provide a score for each incident based on its impact on a particular line. So for now, there's no use for it, but in the future, we will start to do something like a scoring system for each line, and have a report card of the particular line at the end of the month. Or if we are if we want to do it, we can also do it like weekly. So as long as there's incidents, we can track them. Okay, so let me just go back a few months, I think, and see. Yeah, we have long-term incidents that happen. As you can see, previously we have this LRT3 Petaling Ampang track pillar crack. So it's a really, really major incident that happened from the start of 2021 till about the start of 2024. So you can see the duration is 386 days. This is a bug. This comma shouldn't be here. I'll be fixing it. Yeah. So as all information goes, everything should be sourced, where be it a Twitter site, like for example, this is a press release. So when you click on it, you will see the official press release of RapidCal. This is to actually combat misinformation. So people will probably say that, oh, MLPTM, you guys are bullshitting. This thing did not happen. And we will say, oh no, you can look at this RapidCal Twitter. This is a particular source, and yeah, we are not bullshitting, right? Okay, so we have the incident module, I would say, because of a post in MLPTF that basically gives a report card for all of the lines. So I got into contact, and this is the site that I did. It took about 1 week, less than a week. Why so less? Because when I did transport, all of the infrastructure, all of the base works are completed already. Yeah. So we also have a gallery which does not work for now. Why? I will talk about it later. We have a console. So this console basically is a list of all spotted trains, for the admin, because they want to update what is being spotted in the database, right? What are the status of those those train sets. So it can be filtered, which I won't do it now because it kind of strains the database. But yeah, point being, this is what I do here. Okay, so as of now, we are working on this module called Situasi. If you go to the public site, you can't see it. It's only enabled for beta users. As you can see, if you go to Situasi, it will be directed off. Yep, see, you'll be directed off. And yeah, it's in really beta situation now. So Situasi, as you can infer from the name, is Malay for situation. So what is the situation of the public transport in our area? So like you can click on the Kajang line, or this thing does not work for now. And over here, you can have a vehicle status history. So we track here and say, okay, throughout these dates, what is and how is the site? No, sorry, how are the train sets? Like for example, we have more in service these few days, and it suddenly went down for some reason. Hey, sorry. Yeah, it goes from less in service to slowly more in service. Yeah, we can see that, oh, Rapid Chaos actually improving themselves, right? And in total, we have, I forgot the total number of trains, but yeah. And because we want to be as neutral as possible, we also source it from other places that do collect the data on their own. So like Amtrak Malaysia, Train, Rail, and Enthusiasts, they also have a site that also does the same thing. But last I checked, it's written in PHP, but I think now it's written in React. Yeah, no clue. But yeah, so we source it in from few sources to make sure that our data is not biased and people using our site to actually know whether we are biased or not. And of course, the ultimate grail is Prasarana, so that's why I put the button here for now. Does not exist for now. And as usual stuff, you can filter. As you can see, this the gradient does not work here. That's why it's an alpha. And also one thing that I'm quite proud of is the spotting line calendar heat map. So this heat map here basically tells us what trains are spotted when for each week. And then we can have a heat map and say, okay, this train has not been spotted for a very long time. As you can see, for Kelana Jaya line, there's quite a lot of spottings too. But as you can see, 68 and 69, there's no spottings at all. Yeah, I should add a status on why this was not spotted later in the future. But yeah, the ones that are the most nice to see is actually Putrajaya line. So let's wait it to load. Yep, you can see it's very clear here that, okay, we have this particular trains being spotted at this particular day, this particular week, sorry. There's a very high count of it spotting. So you may ask me like why it is being done as week, because during designing, I did it 2 days, and I realized that it doesn't make much sense that we track it by days, because not everyone is riding the lines for each day. But we can be pretty sure that if you see that particular train on that week, if it's in service, it should be in service for the entire week. So using this logic, it is restricted based on week. But of course, when this project goes bigger and I have more time to deal on the filters and stuff, it can be drilled down to every 2 days, every 3 days, every bi-weekly, every month, any filter you can think of. So of course you can restrict down and it will move, but I think the filter is still quite bad for now. Yeah. So you can also look at each particular vehicle, how it performed over 300 over the last year. I think, yeah, you can see how it performed over the last year, when it's spotted, when it's not spotted. I've been trying to make zero as white, but still didn't happen yet. And then You can drag it and say, okay, for this particular dates, it's been being spotted for more than one time a day. And you can narrow it down. So yeah, this is what Situasi is. And in the future, we will do something called Diffrosa. From this Google Sheet, you can see that we do track the escalators and elevators, but yeah, as I said, I don't really have time to code this out yet, but this should be in the site later on. So on request, we actually have a Telegram group. Sorry. So we have a Telegram group that Vincent says, okay, let's have a Telegram group to spot everything's there. Let's separate everything by their types. So we have, like, for example, MRT Kajang line here, and people will spot in there. And then also later on, Vincent was requesting that says, oh, we probably need a bot to like handle everything, because typing in manually here, it's much faster than the site. So you can see over here, if this particular guy gives a particular spotting, it will give you a thumbs up. Okay, so back to this MLPTF thing. So one of the criticisms we had when we did this site was, oh, why do you need people to log in order to like, submit an entry? So the reason we gave was that we want this data to be as genuine, to be as accurate as possible. If we don't authenticate, like what is happening here in Amtrak, anyone can just submit a rogue entry and not having any repercussions. So for example, just for the sake of it, let's submit a train ID 01. Is 01 a valid one? Okay. Oh yeah, I'm in the US, so turns out they block people from the US, but they block people from outside of Malaysia. But yeah, so they have this. They have a bunch of analytics, which we will do in the future also. Yeah, so the point is, having a login mechanisms allows us to guarantee or nearly guarantee the accuracy of the data. So that's why we did a login mechanism. And if you want to submit in Telegram here, you also actually have to link here. So how to do it is we basically do a verification code here, and then you just verify over here. So for example, the code is 407901. I just do verify 407901. So the bot will reply me, oh, it's linked. So you can verify it like 20 times, no problem. The point is we want to link your Telegram account with your Google account. So yeah, this is the login. So during the design, I had this really, really strong sense of saying that, okay, people shouldn't be able to see, or let's say our database got hacked, the hackers, if they got our data, shouldn't be able to know who is what, right? So that's why in our database, we only record the Firebase ID. We don't record the email addresses, the names, unless you put your name in. Yeah, like you can see this at Me tab, which is what I call the profile tab. Over here, we have some stats on you that says, okay, historical spottings, which are the ones you spotted. And if it's close enough to the date, you can actually see a button here to allow you to delete it. And you can track all of your spottings here. Oops. Yeah, you can track all of our spottings here. When you did, when, what, and as usual, you can filter stuff. You can insert a nickname here. Yeah, the normal stuff. So I think this is like a tech session. So what are our tech stacks? So the first thing is our backend runs on Oracle Cloud. So why Oracle Cloud? Because there's a bunch of really, really good always free services, the stuff that you can use for unlimited time. So what are the things that I look for? Yeah, let me go for always free filter. Okay, first thing, compute instance. So Oracle Cloud provides 4 cores, let's say 4 ARM cores, and up to 24 gigs of memory usable per month. So you just switch that on and it runs, right? And it also provides a free Kubernetes control plane. Where is it? Yeah, it's not here, but it provides a free Kubernetes control plane, so I can use their managed Kubernetes without any cost. And also they give block object and archive storage. Last I check is 10 gigs. And also the best thing here is it provides 10 terabytes, terabytes of egress per month for your for anything. So this is like very, like, I really love free stuff like this. So that's why everything we do is now on Oracle Cloud. That's for the backend. And for the front end, like I said, I love free stuff. So we run on Firebase, the no cost plan. Authentication, as you can see, we log in using Google account. That's why we authenticate using Firebase. Firestore does not have anything much for now. The only thing we store in Firestore is this about page. This about page that says, okay, we have how many projects, and then this is our team. So the reason we store that in Firebase, in Firestore is because we can update it live, just for the fun of it, yeah. And because I learn stuff, so that's why I put it in Firestore. It's much easier to modify there also for the lay people. So we have cloud functions, we have storage. So I haven't really used that storage yet. And one of the important things is hosting. So hosting here, Google provides Firebase hosting for every one of us. You can transfer 360 megs a day, and it's too good to give this up. So that's why I use Firebase. So within Firebase, there's actually a bunch of really nice features that we can use. So for example, authentication, you can see all of the emails. Yeah, I shouldn't show this page. I should show the hosting page. Yep. So Firebase here provides us versioning here. So this is the previous versioning, and we can always click to roll back to this particular version. So if like front end breaks, the people will tell me, and then I just roll back before continuing debugging, right? So of course we have preview channels here to test few stuff. We have a staging site here. So in the staging site, I can basically do everything. So before giving out, before sending out features, before making major features live, I will go for this staging site first. I can just simply add some entries here, and then just submit it. It won't affect the main site. So my Firebase hosting, and then the best thing, and one of the reasons I use Firebase, is we have this built-in analytics. So many of us like privacy, right? But when disclosure of information makes the site better, I stand more on the site. So as you can see, users in the last 30 minutes, we have Malaysia. I don't know who's opening it. We have United States, which is me. And yeah, we can track on the average how many people use this site for how long, with this time and stuff, and then users by countries, so on and so forth. So it's really nice to have this. So one of the things I use this for is to see whether each feature release will actually affect our user base. So for example, previously I had a rough debate with Vincent on whether the use of Telegram bots will actually affect people visiting our site. Because for us usual people, for us enthusiasts, we visit the site multiple times a day to input the train entries. But when you remove that, or when you move it, when you enable a better alternative, probably it will affect the people that visit the site. So we had a talk, like we had a discussion about it, and he's like, okay, just try to do this, and we'll see. And turns out, it does not affect at least much. It's probably like 2 to 5%, but it's good enough. Okay, so yeah, we have Firebase Analytics and our tech stack, Oracle Cloud, Firebase, Django. Yep. So my company uses Django, so that's why I opted for Django also. Yeah, let me log in. So this one is basically the built-in admin interface in Django. I don't really need to code much to be here. It has good user authentication and filters. For example, I can do groups, and then like this group is called transport editor, for example. So over here, I can give them permissions, what they can do, what they can't do. There's a bunch of lists here. Like for example, you can add, change, delete, view, the very common CRUD stuff. And I can have a history of what has happened and who changed what. And of course, being a console interface, you can have direct change and direct access to things happening. So for example, sporting events. Previously, before I did the console page, you had to come in here to delete entries. And to go into the entry, you can edit, so on and so forth. So Django admin is my way of quickly bootstrapping stuff for people. Yeah, and it's fun. Okay, so our front end runs on Angular, and previously we use this UI library called DevUI, which is a library by Huawei. And the problem is they don't really update nicely. They don't have a really strong user base other than Huawei. So that's why I opted out and said, okay, this thing does not work. Let's go to nDesign. ngZoro. Yeah, it's called ngZoro for the Angular library. So yeah, this particular library has much better community engagement. It has arguably better UI, but I'm not really used to it for now. That's why if you come to this site, if you come to our site, you will see that part of it is Angular, ngZoro, one of it is DevUI. Okay, so what else? As a site as big as, not big, but as a modern site, of course, we have task queues, right? So there are some things we need to process instantly, like web requests. There are some stuff that we can wait. So that's why we have a task queue. So for the task queue, I opted to use Celery. Yeah, so why Celery? So because Celery can integrate really nicely with Django, and I can just do some few Django calls into Celery as what I will normally do for Django itself. So it integrates really nicely with the code. And I use Celery, and because I use Celery, of course I will need Redis for the queues. And because I'm using Redis, I'm like, okay, why not? Let's cache our request so it won't hit the database always, right? And for CI/CD, like I said just now, we use Kubernetes. We use Kubernetes here, and we have a bunch of stuff running inside here. And the interesting part, I would say, and the less best practice is staging and production database actually run on the same Postgres instance, which is bad, but giving cost measures, and not many people use this anyways. So I put everything into a single Postgres interface, which is bad. Yeah, I know. So what do I do and what do I use? So for the site, we track what is happening using a Flux CD. So what will Flux CD do is that it will look into the state of the cluster, and then it will say, okay, you said within the configuration you said like 3 replicas, 3 copies of this thing, but now it has 1, so I should increase it by 2. So Flux will run its own algorithms and increase that. So it's a very, very large topic. So feel free to go to my YouTube channel. Feel free to go to the CNCF YouTube channel and have a look on the talk I gave at Cube Day Singapore regarding Flux. Yeah. So for CI/CD, we use GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions. Yeah. So we use GitHub Actions. So every time I push into the main branch, it will run, and yeah, it will analyze my code, and then it will create and publish a Docker image into GitHub container registry, which you can see from here. Yeah, you can see a bunch of tagged image here. Yeah. So as all programming projects go, we have a bunch of side issues pending to fix. So the recent kaboom in our site is the Telegram bot. So what happens is what happened is that if there's any errors, for example, here, so they have a bunch of spotting stuff here, right? So if there is some errors, any errors, like for example, it has error finding back this message, to give it a thumbs up, it will loop. So it says spot 134, set 134, and it will record into the database, and then it will try to react to this message. When the reacting has an issue, Telegram will basically have a feedback. So sorry, yeah. So how we do this is basically by webhooks. So every time there's someone sending messages into this channel will send a request to our Telegram webhook, I would say. It will send a message to our server, and then we will process it. So during the process, yeah, there will be some issues, right? For example, it can't find back this message to give it the thumbs up, and then it will send a code 500 back to Telegram. So Telegram will be like, okay, it sends a code 500. Let me resend it. So you resend it, it can't find the message, and then this cycle happens again and again, which I will need to fix. Yeah. The second one is gallery. Sorry. So for the gallery, initially, like this. Okay. Anyways, so for the gallery, initially we use IMGUR as our gallery, because it provides really, really good resizing functions. It basically anything we want from a CDN, it provides us, right? And after that, shamefully, I got a little I would say greedy, and because ImageUR for some reason blocks Oracle Cloud, so that time I switched to having a backend using Discord. So Discord, the backend will be like this. So we have MLPT, sorry. So we have MLPTF here. Nope, should be, yeah, the ROSA project, right? Sorry, this one. So what happens is if anyone uploads any picture, it will send to this channel or some other channel, and then we will link the link here to our site, which works for some time until Discord decided to add this thing behind here. Basically what it does is that it gives a code or a temporary code for each picture. So I will need to go through the Discord app in order to get this code. So this code does not exist for our site, and I have no way to request it. and that's why the site gallery feature is broken for now. But the way I designed it is that any uploads will upload to my Oracle storage bucket first, which is like Amazon S3. It will upload there, and then our task will pick up that particular image and only post to Discord, image UR, and so on and so forth. So although upload, you won't see it for now, but it is in that bucket. And when I fix it, it will ingest everything in there. Yeah. Okay. And the next thing is Linkerd, the issues with Linkerd, which as you can see, I opened a few tabs here. So Linkerd is basically a service mesh for Kubernetes. But that's not the point of the talk here. But long story short is that Linkerd provides a really nice interface for you to do canary releases. So what are canary releases is that we have version A and version B, and version B is the new version, and currently all traffic directs to version A. So when you release version B, you don't directly switch everyone over, right? Because probably version B has some issues that made pass-through testing. So what happens is that you put 10% of the traffic to version B, and if that traffic is okay, you put 20%, and then if that is okay, after 5 minutes, you put 30%, so on and so forth. So until all the traffic goes to version B, then you can shut down version A. So for some reason, reasons unknown, Linkerd is breaking on me every time there's a new version release, a new minor version release. So I'm not sure what will happen next, but I will probably switch back to Istio. Yeah, Istio is another service mesh. Yeah. So do we have more time? Do we still have more time, organizers?
How long will you continue? I think we can allow up to 8:25 lah. 8 more minutes. Will that be fine?
8 more minutes. Yeah, that's definitely
Okay.
okay.
Right.
I can do less than
Right.
that. Okay. So that's basically it for our site. Yeah, and then this talk is about MLPTF and another thing called Move It community, right? So Move It community is basically a community program for the movie editor. If you guys are very familiar with Crank Valley, they have Move It there, right? moveitapp.com, and you can do real-time stuff. You can do you can search for public transit there. So yeah, let me go back to Kuala Lumpur. Choose a country. Kuala Lumpur. Oops. Everything went down again. So yeah, as you can see, there's a bunch of lines here. For some reason, it's not loading. Okay, let's just ignore it. So the reason I participated in Move It is because of this thing. So Google Maps, although they have transit data, they only accept data from official sources. So for example, if you want transit data in Google Maps in KL, you need RapidKL or Prasarana to upload directly to Google with their particular format. And it's really bad in my Form 6 days. So from my Form 6 days is about 6 years ago. Yeah. So that time Najib was the prime minister. So he did this thing called the bus network revamp. What that does is that it changes routes, it gives everything a new number. That's good, but Google Maps is not updated. So for example, my home line is 770. Last time is, if I remember correctly, 67 and 63. So within Google Maps, it's not updated for many years. Okay, so at that time, I rely very frequently on 770 to go to the school. And I'm very pissed off on the change and what is happening around. So I went to Google Maps, I kind of wrote to them, and they didn't reply as Google is. And I found Move It. So Move It basically allows you to edit throughout the Move It editor. As you can see, I'm logging in here, and then it gives you a bunch of points when you edit it. So for example, you can edit the lines, you can you know look into these particular buses, you can edit the frequency, so and so forth. It gives you a really good way of visualizing this particular route. Yeah. So I contributed since I was, I think, 17, and then I got the 1,000 points. And at that time, this community manager is called Gabriel. It's called Gabriela. So she told me, okay, why not you join the ambassador program? So I joined in. As a bunch of together with a bunch of other people. I've never met them, but yeah, this is the site. So you need to be 18 years old, have 1,000 points in editor to join this community ambassador. So what are the opportunities and the perks if you join the ambassador program? So first, that I'm very happy. It happened since last year is you can participate in the user experience program. So before they launch anything on Move It, they will engage in people in the user experience program, and they will let you test out the designs, give feedback directly, and also we have I would say direct access to the regional managers to tell them what is happening in the community that they would need to fix up on. I think that's a really good experience. And also as Malaysians, we like free things. So as a community ambassador, you get free Move It Plus, 0 ads for Move It, and you can join into gatherings beyond Malaysia. That hasn't happened yet, but it was in plan until COVID hit. So we're kind of trying to start it now, but because as you know, the economy of the world is going to shit, so it has to be suspended for now. So things that we did, at least in Malaysia. So the first thing is during the launch of the MRT Sungai Buloh Kajang line, which is now called the Kajang line, the dark green line, we mapped the entire MRT feeder bus routes within 3 days of its launch. I'm not sure if you can see it still here. It's down there. Yeah, it's quite down there. I won't scroll it there, but yeah, we mapped it within 3 days after the launch of the Sungai Buloh Kajang line, and yeah. Oh yeah. It's on the screen. So KKR is actually a very nice contributor. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, we advocated for open data since 2016, and then finally in 2024, our government went to their census and finally released open data, although the quality is less than expected. But as an ambassador, you can also take a look at all of the projects. Many of the projects, you can see the users, who is active, who is not active, and then we can do service alerts. So when you see the blink happening, that's one of our ambassadors or our project manager. Yeah. So probably many people will ask, like, how does Move It actually profit, right? Oh, it's too. So I don't think I have enough time to talk about it, but long story short, Move It is selling, at least last I know, Move It is selling tracking analytics services to the bus operators. So those bus operators can go through what is provided by Move It to have a look on their entire network, on analytics, on the user pattern, so that they can plan better. So it all ties down back data. Data is basically, I would say, the new gold GOLD of our current era, and everyone's trying to have it. But the problem is, a lot of people have data, but they don't know how to deal with it, and how to deal with and what to do with it. And probably they will trip over some privacy laws in the process, but that's innovation. So again, thank you very much, Vandik, for inviting me, and good luck on your project.
All right, thank you, Zach and Kwon, for the sharing. Hope everyone learned something out of it. And yeah, that's really cool how stuff is going on through digitalization in transportation in Malaysia. And I think MLPDF is also available for everyone to contribute if you are interested. So in that sense, maybe you can contact Kwon, contact Zach, and yeah, Sihong is also part of MLPDF.
Sihong is basically Zach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just now I can't see the cam, so yeah.
Sorry. I have two devices connected to me.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. So without further ado, I think we can move on to the next session, which is a talk from Transit Malaysia. I'll pass the stage to Transit Malaysia team.
Okay.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So, yeah, that you can continue.
Okay. Just give me a minute. Okay. Sorry, I'm having some issue with my speaker. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm here again. Okay. So now I would just like to give introduction to Transit Malaysia. Okay. Okay, public transportation is indeed an urgent national issue in Malaysia with several pressing challenges that needs to be addressed. So Malaysian major cities, especially Kuala Lumpur and its surrounding area, which is Klang Valley, suffers from severe traffic congestion, leading to wasted time, increased pollution, and decreased productivity. The lack of efficient public transportation options has led to high dependency on private vehicles, exacerbating congestion and pollution issues. Environmental concerns is a real and present issue as the reliance on private vehicle contributes significantly to air pollution, carbon emissions, negatively impacting public health and the environment. Malaysia's public transportation infrastructure, particularly in less urbanized areas, is often inadequate, outdated, and unable to meet the growing demands of the population. Public transportation should be accessible and affordable for all Malaysians. However, many individuals, especially those from lower income groups, may find public transportation limited or too costly. Ensuring the safety and security of passengers using public transportation is crucial to building trust and encouraging more people to use these services. There is a need for better integration and connectivity between different modes of public transportation, such as buses, trains, monorails, and to provide seamless travel experiences for commuters. The lack of public transportation contributes to urban sprawl as more people are forced to live further and further away from city centers due to affordability or lack of public transportation options. Addressing to these issues require a comprehensive approach involving infrastructure development, policy reform, investment in technology and innovation, and of course public awareness campaigns to promote the benefits of using public transport. It's crucial for the government, private sector, and civil society to work together to improve Malaysia's public transportation system. Okay, now to introduce Transit Malaysia. Okay, Transit Malaysia is actually a non-profit organization dedicated to advocating for the improvement and advancement of public transport systems across the nation. Our mission is to facilitate the development of efficient, sustainable, and accessible transportation options to all Malaysians.
Here's our goal. And firstly, of course, advocacy. That's what we actually do the most. Transit Malaysia serves as a voice for the people, advocating for policies and initiatives that prioritize the enhancement of public transportation network. We engage with government agencies, policymakers, and other stakeholders to push for reforms and investment in transportation infrastructure. We also believe in the power of education and awareness to drive positive change. Transit Malaysia conducts public outreach campaigns to educate citizens about the importance of public transportation and its benefits to the environment, economy, and community well-being. Transit Malaysia also engages with communities to understand their needs and concerns. Regarding public transport, we collaboratively with local residents, community leaders, and grassroots organizations to ensure that public transportation policies and projects are inclusive and responsive to community needs. We also promote sustainable transportation solutions such as cycling, walking, and other forms of sustainable mobility options as part of a holistic approach to reducing carbon emission and mitigating climate change. Transit Malaysia believes in the power of partnership and collaboration. To achieve our goals, we work closely with government agencies, private sectors, academic institutions, and civil society organizations to drive collective action towards improving public transportation and mobility in our country. So that's our introduction, and of course we started our back in 2007 with this guy called Moaz and Zulkifli. Zul is the person that you can see in the picture, and now we are on our so-called our present form is like a second phase of transit, which is now consisting of more than 100 interested and passionate individuals for advocacy and all that. Yeah. So now, okay, this one I'll pass the mic to.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Ridwan. Yeah, sorry.
Hi. So I'm Ridwan from Transit My as well. So the next slide talks about, or probably trying to ask the question to you, why should you care? So you've heard from one of our colleagues who was developing the systems, the web app, on how a lot of us in the community are crazy or passionate about public transport, right? But there's also people like myself. I'm not a train spotter. I'm not as passionate on public transport on its own, but I'm more passionate or more really angry the fact that on my daily commutes, I have to go through traffic jams, hours and hours of traffic jams, cumulative across the weeks and hours that I have to go to work on a daily basis. So why should you care? For most of you who live in Klang Valley, congratulations, you'll be part of that picture one day, or you are already there. Statistically, recently only about 20% of us in the Klang Valley use public transport as their main mode of transportation. The remaining 80% of us, including myself, lucky enough, have to drive a car to get from point A to point B, and essentially are part of that picture that we are showing to you right now. Some of you who are part of that 80% might say, hey, Ridwan, my road isn't that jam at the moment. Good news, this is going to be that way in the future, especially if you're in Klang Valley. The population rise, the urbanization rate is so high that it's just a matter of time. Other studies have also shown that on average, people who have to drive to work in Klang Valley waste about, on average, 159 hours a year and have to spend an extra 221 ringgit on petrol on top of the petrol that they have to pay anyways to get from point A to point B, stuck in jams. And these are extreme jams where in some cases you're just not even moving in some cases. Now, if we look at the actual cost of car ownership, it's even more staggering. If you were to take a first-hand Axia Perodua car which should be one of the cheapest end of cars in Malaysia, take a 9-year loan and account for the petrol, the cost of maintenance, the insurance that you have to pay, the car park. Again, bear in mind, most cases, especially if you work, you have to park somewhere. It's not free in most cases. The average cost that you will have to pay is about 840 ringgit. This is the lowest first-hand car that you have to pay. Now, for those who are dreaming about a more higher-end sedan, Proton or Honda, again, bad news is going to be double that price. So it's an expensive cost that we have to incur to ourselves to just get from one place to another. So why should you care as a normal rakyat of Malaysia? You should care because without a proper public transport system and policy, you are literally losing money, health, and time that you will never get back. All right, Eddie, move on to the next slide. Okay, so again, why should you care? Because you've seen the news. You know that we're building MRTs, we're building LRT3. There's one coming on the way to Penang as well. There's progress, yes. We agree there is progress, but unfortunately, there's not enough. And especially for our Malaysian government, the default solution for congestion, unfortunately, is still more highways. It's still enlarging the roads in your cities, towns, and wherever you live. The problem with that solution, or if really your government's main solution to congestion is more highways and more roads, unfortunately, or at least the advantage of being Malaysia as a developing country, we can see what our future is because we can see countries that are more developed. As these pictures, you can see the left-hand side is America, the right-hand side is China. You can sort of conclude that when we build more highways, when we make bigger roads, what you really get is just more congestion and worse congestions for that matter. So that is not the solution. The solution is public transport. Sorry, Eddie, can you move to the next slide? So what is your government doing about it? Why, and sort of justifies why Transit Malaysia exists? Your government at the moment is focusing on a couple areas when it comes to transport. They are encouraging more highways and bigger roads. They are adding more parking spaces to cities and towns. And they are still funding petrol subsidies, which cost the taxpayer about 55 to 60 billion a year. Now, the pictures on the left try to show you what that means in terms of on-the-ground effect. When we prioritize highways and roads, we leave very little room for people to walk from point A to point B. And you can see on the picture, people are actually walking on the road itself, or in some cases, little bits of gap of ground where you can walk on, which is dangerous and uncomfortable. In another case, your houses might unfortunately be built adjacent to a new elevated highway, which looks extremely dystopian. And as the social media post is asking, is this really hebat betul bumbung? No, it's not. It is quite dystopian and it is quite depressing if you are living in that area. And this reality is becoming more and more present everywhere across Klang Valley. Now, what is the effect of this policy direction by our governments? Highways do alleviate traffic for a while, but as you can see from the pictures from the American and Chinese highways, eventually it just leads to worse and worse congestion. It also has the effect of cutting our neighborhoods into smaller urban islands, which means in the past when roads were smaller, you could cross the road, get to your mama or to your shop. Once they widen the road, they build barriers in between, or they build a whole elevated highway. That access that you used to have is no longer there. And what used to be a 2-3 minute walk now becomes a 5-minute drive where you have to go around a very windy road to get around that new barrier to get to the other side of that road. And of course, all these policies, all these developments leading to more people using cars means that we are emitting more and more carbon, poisoning our air and making global warming even worse. So it's a downward spiral at the moment. And if we allow this to persist, it's going to make our environment, our towns, our cities worse and worse off as time goes by. All right, so Adi, you go next to your section.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. So as Ridwan said, our government have been building more and more highways, right? And then, for my slide, I will focus on more technical issues. So we can see from these pictures that it is reflected that the government is building a more sprawl type of development for Klang Valley. So from 1989 to 2014, KL population has been doubled, but land in use is actually doubled and more than that, like 2.5. So in terms of developing a city, this is not sustainable at all. A green city, a sustainable city, is a low carbon city, which means that it is a compact city and with walkable neighborhoods. With development encroaching into more and more habitat, um, taking up more lands, this will not be true. We will not have walkable neighborhood. People will need to drive because it's suburban, and yeah, we cannot achieve the UN goal of having a 15-minute smart city and 15-minute healthy city walk lah. So this is not the case for Klang Valley though, as its development has already more exceeding state boundaries. It's roping once distant cities like Seremban, like Rawang, into satellite cities for people that work in KL. Hence, the advent of supercommuters. As the urban sprawl will not stop, the supercommuters number will be increasing. Supercommuters is actually a term that describes a group of people that travels one way from one end to another end daily for 90 minutes and above. So it takes like 3 hours per day on transportation, on your car, on your train, on a plane, or maybe. So this is not healthy. It induces stress to workers. It wastes time. It wastes money, and not to mention the huge carbon footprint. For you can not see this in KL also. You can see this in Penang. For example, people that live in Kulim need to wake up at 5 a.m. and then drive from their house just to arrive in the bridge at 6 a.m. and then face jam. And then they maybe arrive in Bayan Lepas, their factory place, in like 9. So it takes time, and also it is not healthy. And then you you repeat the process, same process again and again daily until you are sick of it. So yeah, for further studies, I will suggest you to watch the YouTube link below. It talks about the urban sprawl from collaboration of UTM with MIT. It is a bit outdated though, but it is the problem still persists, and you can still use the video to understand the whole problem. Then, as of current, as Ridwan said, that we only have like 20% modal share for transportation using public transport in Klang Valley. It is unfortunately emphasized on rail heavy funding and usage, which is less than 1 million daily commuters. This need like 100 billion ringgit for funding during its full tenure. And from this, like from these 1 million daily commuters, 150,000 of it is bus users, but bus users only require like 750 million ringgit of funding. So you can make a comparison that bus users actually contribute more to the numbers of public transport users, but require less funding. So yeah, this the table beside shows the current condition of public transport in Klang Valley compared to other cities. Um, we would like to emphasize on buses though. So you can see that Klang Valley have the least amount of buses compared to Singapore, London, Hong Kong, and Tokyo. So it is a very stark comparison with Singapore, our neighbor, because Singapore actually have a higher bus ridership number compared to MRT, and this reflect to us that the lack of buses, especially the lack of drivers of buses, causes the low number of bus in service and hence lower frequency. If you try to take bus in KL, it will take like most lines have a frequency of like 40 minutes. So you need to wait for another 40 minutes for another bus if you just miss it. I've done it a lot of times and it really frustrated me out. So yeah, we need to focus more on that. Hence, Transit Malaysia has been collaborating with think tank, Social Democracy Malaysia, and we have published an article called Bus Now, Bridging the Gap in Klang Valley Transport. So the link is there. You can see that if you want later on. So back to the table, other cities like London, Hong Kong, and Tokyo, although it is not an apple-to-apple comparison, it still highlight that they did not neglect bus even though they have a lot of railway lines. You see London number of railway lines is 11, but the number of buses is like 8,000. So we need to learn from that and to not neglect our backbone of public transport. Okay, coming from that shameful performance of our city, it is quite kind of depressing. So this is a fresh view from the problems that we have that Transit Malaysia in collaborative project of Bike Commute also collaborated with other parties like MBPJ and then the MP of Petaling Jaya to propose a development of pathway. Uh, yeah. So this 700-meter walkway enables a safer pedestrian experience to and from Filio Damansara MRT station from Kajang line. So we have liaised with the MP of Petaling Jaya, and you can see in the picture below on the right side, our representative Vincent at the forefront, Faiz in yellow shirt, Zack in the orange shirt, and also Justin from the blue t-shirt with the MP of Petaling Jaya lah. So this meeting is actually the latest meeting with stakeholders from MBPJ and the MP that discuss on the costing of the project. So you all can expect the development quite soon, but to be honest, we need to face a long construction time because the walkway is on top of a drain, and the drain is actually built to not accommodating any structure above it. So they need to reinforce the drain and so that the walkway slabs can be put in place. This will inevitably take a long time, but if it but if it finish up the construction, then you can check it out and then see the fruits of our labor. So I would like you to all I would like you all to see the picture of Netherlands in the 1960s, the age of jet and the convenience of cars, where they advertise it as such, but they don't know that the convenience of the few put so much burden to anyone that in the city. It's actually caused a gridlock in Amsterdam. People literally can't go anywhere because of the traffic. So, with the voices from the people, they literally do sit in, they lie in front of the museum where it converted into a large road. So in the end, the government divests from enlarging roads to prioritize bicyclists. Now, urbanists from around the globe learn a lot from this phenomenon and regard Netherlands as the leader of public transport and change of urbanism. So we believe that this can be done in Malaysia with emphasis of Klang Valley because this region have the highest population density in all of Malaysia. So yeah, try looking at this old picture of KL nearby Petaling Street. You can see the there is a lot of people walking and cycling, and the temperature at that time is actually not that different from now. Just that now increase like 5 degree maybe. So Singapore has already invested in cycling. Our climate is so much better for active mobility than say Nordic countries. They have a very harsh winter. So even if you want to go out, even if you need to go out, you need to wear a very thick clothing. It is so uncomfortable, and also you need to face the freezing wind. I've already experienced here in Sydney, so it is not a very pleasant experience. That being said, um, as we believe that pedestrianisation can be done in Malaysia, Transit also discusses on pedestrianisation with more focus on Bukit Bintang area because it is a very high traffic area. So this is for long-term planning though. So, but as a young person, we would like to see what's happening now, right? And then we can give you the collaborative project with Bike Commute Malaysia. The transit team actually sent out a few of our representatives to help paint the colors of the shapes and the lines for this project. It is located in SK Dana Kota, a quasi pedestrianization of the second gate of the school. This enables a safer walking experience to the students and the community there. People actually use the walk path to also cycle there, cycle to and from the market. So it helps a lot of people. So what I want to emphasize here is that we should not be passive. We need to fight and collaborate with various parties to ensure that change can happen. The only thing holding back PJD Link is the strong fight from PJ residents to not enable the highway to be built in front of their doors. We could do the same for public transportation and walkability. So we need to gain uh, s- uh, we need to unionize and fight for the better public transport and walkability. All right. So I give it to Zach.
Hi. Okay. Y'all can hear me, huh? Okay.
Yeah, can.
Okay. Now for my for this, thank you, Ridwan and Adi, for highlighting the earlier issues. So now is that we are what I'm about to present is addressing the challenges of public transport in Malaysia in terms of accessibility, first last mile issues, and also development priority. So, improving public transport in Malaysia requires addressing several key challenges, and these three are it. And let me give you a rundown on the important challenges which accessibility is actually the lack of it to train stations and bus stops. We have a bad first mile connectivity due to underfunded and inadequate bus network. This means that we have an unreliable and inconsistent bus service, particularly outside urban centers like the Klang Valley. Lastly, before we go into the issues by topic, we have wrong development priorities, which is continued development of highway projects, as well as a high reliance on public vehicle usage, such as cars and motorcycles. Okay, here's how the issues can be tackled as development priorities. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Sorry.
Okay, are we on the? Sorry, no. I mean
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the accessibility.
Okay.
Accessibility slide. Okay. Okay. First of all, I
Hello.
Sorry, is that you're on mute, by the way.
sorry, I tertekan. Sorry. Okay, let me start off. Okay, first of all, I would like to break accessibility into two issues. One is infrastructure upgrade. So for infrastructure upgrade, by prioritizing retrofitting existing public transport infrastructure with accessibility features such as ramps, elevator, and tactile paving. So new constructions should incorporate these features from the outset. Okay, and the second one is the design, training, and sensitization, which operators should provide training programs for public transport staff to ensure that they are equipped to assist passengers with disabilities, the OKUs, and to conduct awareness campaigns to educate the public about the need and rights of individuals with disabilities. We have a lack of accessibility to train stations and bus stop. For instance, we only have 2.02 km square kilometers covered in a 15-minute walk to train stations in Klang Valley. If for that you compare to 2.8 kilometers square in Singapore, and of course 3.18 kilometers square in Montreal, Canada.
Sorry, you're on mute again. You're on mute again.
Okay, I'm not too sure why my computer. Sorry, where did I start muted? Okay.
End of the comparison.
Okay, the comparison. Okay, so first of all, we have a lack of covered 15 minutes walk to train station, which is 2.8 kilometers square in Singapore and 3.18 kilometers square in Montreal, Canada. So that's the what do you call it, 2.02 is Klang Valley. And also apart from that, we also have quite a lot of disjointed walkways, and also we have covered walkways which are not actually covered all the way. That means that, for instance, the BKL, they actually do not connect to, let's say, the MRT's covered walkway, which is built by MRT Corp. All that. So we have a lot of this, and of course we have very high curbs which actually do not which actually it makes OKU very difficult, especially for wheelchair, to climb the gradient onto the curb. So onto the walkway which is on top of the curb. Okay, so as illustrated in the picture, you can see that this is actually the center picture is actually a well-designed pedestrian crossing. Okay, and of course on the left picture you can see this is actually in front of KLCC. This is the pedestrian walkway, pedestrian crossing to from the Surya KLCC side towards Avenue K. So as you could see that we are now improving, but then again the lack of universal access is quite bad. So next slide please. Okay, as you could see, this map is actually showing the bus routes across Klang Valley, and you can see that it is a bit like your silverfish or worm nest. Okay, one of the reason is because to develop I will break this into another three topics, into three micro topics, which is integrated transport network. We need to develop and integrate into a seamless connect a different to connect different modes of transportation. That includes bus, train, cycling lanes, and pedestrian walkways. Yeah, this to facilitate smoother transition between the modes, reducing reliance on private vehicle for both the first and last mile. And then, of course, second, we have micro mobility solutions. So to introduce it to such as bike sharing programs, electric scooters, and on-demand shuttles to bridge the gap between public transport stops and final destination. These solutions offer flexibility and convenience for short distance travel. And of course, last but not least, the main thing is urban planning, which is important in solving this problem. We have disconnected bus lanes, like I mentioned earlier, and infrequent service as well, because more than a third of stage bus ridership goes to frequent routes, which is 12 minutes or under. That is less than 1/10 or 7% of the total bus network. Feeder routes represent more than half of all routes, but less than 1/5 or about 18% of network ridership. By having a long and meandering bus routes also add to this problem, as you can see in this map. Okay, for the lack of accessibility and lack of safe walkway, especially within 500 meters to and from any transit stations or any bus stops, makes it important to integrate first and last mile considerations into urban planning process, with a focus on creating a pedestrian friendly environment, improve sidewalks and crossways. Next slide, please. Okay, so lastly, we have this for my presentation, which is development priority. Okay, so when it comes to development priority, I think Adi, you can just yeah, click it off first lah. Okay, what we have here, what is showing here is actually the PTMP in Penang. So where the priority are given to highways. Highways are being built first before the LRT and all that. Okay, granted that the LRT is a more complex public transport network where it requires a lot of vendors and suppliers and stuff like that. But then again, our expertise and speed of construction of highway shows that we have been a very car-centric society all this while, because our highway construction is very fast and efficient. Okay, and of course, you can click on and show the rest of the maps. Is it all click? Oh, sorry. Okay, now mind, you go back to okay. Actually, I do have another few more maps, but it doesn't seems to be working well. Okay, you can see that there is another two maps there, SKE, and then there is one you can see that is Federal Highway, Jalan University, all that. This is actually the PJD link and also the SKE Expressway, which is in Klang Valley. These are proposed, and of course recently we heard that PJD link has been shut down, but in fact it has not really. I don't know, I personally think that it has a lot of ways to being reborn. So this time I'm not too certain. I can't guarantee, although it seems like we have won a small battle here, but we have not won the war. Okay, just recently MP of PJ, which is YB Tianchung, has announced that PJD link is officially dead, but we'll wait and see, because in principle actually Klang Valley, all the PBTs in Klang Valley have already said they do not allow, or they discourage the new highways being built, especially for DBKL. But DBKL then again in their PSKL plan Struktur Kuala Lumpur 2040, they actually have a few highway corridors as well. So for actually for this we need I'll break down into two topics. Yeah, we need government commitment. This is to ensure strong government commitment to and leadership in prioritizing public transport by enhancing accessibility and also to allocate sufficient funding and resources to provide infrastructure upgrades through technology innovations and capacity building initiative. And of course, the second is stakeholders collaboration. So we need to foster collaboration between government agencies, transportation operators, urban planners, disability advocacy groups, and other stakeholders to develop a holistic and inclusive solution. This is to make sure that all these stakeholders do not work in silos, so as to provide a seamless connectivity and also development in our country. And also, of course, we have to engage communities in decision-making processes to ensure that the initiative meets the diverse needs of the population. So in this case, there are a lot of sometimes we do get residents who are suddenly, against a good proposal. Like for instance, the previously PJD link, you have suddenly Taman Medan there. There's a collision of residents association, and you get 50,000 signatures or something like that to support PJD link. And of course, everybody knows that that is a very bad highway. Okay, so sometimes we need to engage, not sometimes, we really need to engage with residents association, but more often than not, some of them get persuaded or get swayed by certain politicians or certain people with stake in the highway. Okay, that's all for me for now. So to you, Ridwan.
Okay, so what needs to be done on a high level, not going too detail, the overarching goal that we want for the country and what we are striving at TransitMy is to make public transportation the #1 choice for transportation for all. And clearly, as you can see from the image, when we say for all, not just people like us, but also people with disabilities. That is the gold standard of when we know our public transport has reached the peak of where we want it to be, which is when we see OKU people riding the bus, taking the train, going on the pedestrian walkways easily without difficulty. That is the goal. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that we want to ban cars. Most of us will still have cars, but we want our public transport networks to be so seamless, so easy, that in most occasions, you leave your car at home and you go to work, you go have fun with your friends using the improved public transport system in Klang Valley. How to get there? So again, if you suddenly stumble upon your MP, your ADUN, your elected officials in the cafe or mama, these are the things that we want you to say to them. Invest more in buses and trains. Improve the last and first mile connectivity. Improve the pedestrian and bicycle access. And those are the things that improves and encourages better public transport. But there's also a force that makes it worse, makes it difficult for us to achieve that overarching goal, which is highways and bigger roads. Tell your MPs, tell your elected officials to discourage the use of private vehicles by reducing the number of highways, by reducing subsidies, and ultimately places like Kuala Lumpur to introduce congestion pricing, which is essentially when the private vehicles go into the heart of KL, there will be additional charges to go into, basically additional tolls. Okay, so again, that's high level. So moving on to the next slide, just linking public transport to the SDGs, the Sustainability Development Goals set by UN. There are 17 in total. We found 3 of them that are relevant to public transportation. If you go to the next one, the first 2 is SDG 3, which is good health and well-being. One of the targets aims to reduce road injuries and deaths. Now, an interesting statistic that some of you might not be aware of, since 2020, Adi, can you keep to the previous slide? Since 2020 till today, 2024, there have been about 37,000 COVID deaths. When COVID hit, the whole country was mobilized to combat it. You know, we had our MCOs, we had army men and police patrolling through our streets. We were working around the clock to help our medical healthcare industry to basically protect our health and our communities. It was a massive national effort, cost us billions. 37,000 people died of that. Now, to put into context the severity of road deaths and injuries, only in 2023, there were about 12,400 people who died on the roads. So if you multiply by about 3 to 4 years, the same period where COVID affected us significantly, if you multiply by, let's say, 3, that's about 36,000 people. So the total death of people dying on the roads is about the same. But you can see that the response is not the same. And what's more tragic is the number of deaths actually increased year on year. So public transport alleviates this concern because the less people are on the roads on private vehicles, the less likelihood we are to being exposed to injuries and deaths. The next one is on sustainability of, sorry, again, apologies, Adi, just going on the second SDG. So the second SDG is on inclusive infrastructure. I think the best example for this is the fact that if you remember my earlier slide, it costs you about 840 ringgit minimum for car ownership. For Klang Valley residents, you can pay 50 ringgit for a My 50 pass, and that allows you full access 24/7 to the whole bus and rail network in Klang Valley. So public transport is safer, it's cheaper, and as such, more inclusive to everyone. Okay, moving on to the next SDG. So the next one is on making cities and human settlements more inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, SDG 11. There are 7 targets that cover affordable housing, inclusive, sustainable urbanization, better access to public spaces, reducing your environmental impacts, reducing deaths and adverse economic effects, and safeguarding the world's cultural and natural heritages. Only one of them mentions about transport, and it's the second one, which is access to safe, affordable, accessible, and sustainable transport systems. So if, us at Transit My, of course, this context differs from country to country. Our argument is that if you really care about SDG 11, if you really want to maximize and focus on improving this part of the country in terms of this particular target, the way to go is public transport. And the reason is, if you're looking about affordable housing in most cases are further out on the fringes of KL and Klang Valley. If you want a cheap house, you have to live somewhere in Rawang or somewhere further back in Klang, or some people have even bought houses in Seremban and commuted day in, day out to KL. Without a good public transport system, your commutes on your private vehicles will go from 1 to 1.5 to 2 hours one way. It is not sustainable, and it is unfair to the residents of Klang Valley and KL alike. So a strong public transport system allows you, at the very least, if you do really want to opt to stay in Seremban because you hate Klang Valley for some reason, you can take the bus or the KTM train, and maybe even if it takes you still 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, public transport gives you time, because now you can sit on the train, you can read a book, you can play with your phone or whatever, you get your time back, and it is overall cheaper. If you're looking at the workplace, you've got a really good job somewhere in KL, good luck finding car parks. And even if you're willing to pay the expensive, exorbitant car park fees of 150 or more, where I'm working, it's about 230. You'll have to opt to park either further out or park on the roadsides, which is dangerous. Public transport allows you the ability to get from point A to point B without bringing your car, which means you no longer have to park your car and incur an additional 100 to 250 ringgit costs. Public spaces also are affected in Malaysia, especially if you live in KL like myself. The main parks like Titi Wangsa and the Perdana parks are only accessible primarily by car. So it takes you 30 minutes just to get to the park through congested roads. And congrats, once you arrive at the park, you can't find any parking spaces. So then you have to maybe drive a bit further out to find somewhere to park, most likely on the roadside, and then walk to the park to then enjoy the amenities there. Again, public transport is the solution. It is better in terms of space allocation and getting you from point A to point B. Okay, next. So I think I'll pass this back to Zach to talk about what Transit Malaysia does.
Okay. I think we do not have enough time, so I'm gonna make this a bit quick. Okay. First of all, what Transit Malaysia do is that we of course work with various policymakers, such as various MPs. Actually, in the past, whom I can remember that we approach is actually our current information minister, YB Fazil, and also we have done some talk with YB Syed Sadiq as well, and then also now we are mostly engaging with YB Tianchong, which is the MP for Petaling Jaya, and of course not forgetting YB Syahrizan of Bangi, whom have actually mentioned us Transit Malaysia in the parliament twice. Our name came out in the parliament twice. So because we provide YB with some information, and also we did shoot and provide him questions to shoot it in the parliament. And of course, just to add to what we all do, also is in terms of we also, when in parliament, we actually ask questions something like why there is not enough trains for the MRT in order for it to provide a better frequency, a better service, because there is actually currently like about I forgot the numbers, but there is quite a substantial number of MRT which is actually not in service, which is resting at the depot. So our numbers provided by transport of MLPTF, which Kwang have described just now, are eerily similar or almost matching to what YB Anthony Loh, our transport minister, provide via the data from MRT Corp and Prasarana. So that shows how accurate our fan base database is, when we have got plenty of fans going around every day just to spot and just to put their observation into the database. Okay, that is the policy part and all that. So also we try to create awareness to general public by actually we actually have workshops and stuff like that, and also visits to depot and all that, especially in collaboration with our sister club MLPTF. And of course, we work with other NGOs to promote on-ground solutions and all that, such as you can see in the slide, these are all the NGOs that we frequently work with. MLPTF is of course no need introduction, and then we have got SSC, which is Skyscraper City. It's a long time forum on urban issues and whatever that is interesting about skyscrapers and stuff. But then again, we have a branch of which is called SSC Pengangkutan. It is actually a social media platform for people who are interested in transportation, all sorts of transportation issues. And of course, we have got Bike Commute Malaysia, which also again needs no introduction. Then we got KLRA Plus SD. That is Kuala Lumpur Residents Association Plus, which is a coalition of all Kuala Lumpur, not Klang Valley, Kuala Lumpur Residents Association. SD stands for Sustainable Development. So they have a subgroup that are promoting sustainable development, and we have all these issues being discussed and whatsoever. And then we have got MRFC, which is Malayan Railway Fan Club, which is a long time fan enthusiast club, almost similar with MLPTF, but they are more towards KTM. And then, of course, we have got the Social Democratic Malaysia, and there are a few other smaller clubs that we work with. But then again, okay, we move on to the next slide. What we need to do, Adi. Okay, so what we all need to do is that, of course, I'll break it into a few subtopics. Like, of course, we need to get educated. Actually, to educated is that we need to know what is the current state of public transportation in Malaysia, because we need to know its challenges, its strengths, and opportunities for improvement. And of course, we need to learn about the best practices and successful public transport initiatives from other countries. We compare ourselves with Singapore, with Hong Kong, even with Thailand, Indonesia. Although Indonesia had just started their metro not too long ago, but they have got certain practice which is good that we should emulate. Okay. No need to say Singapore and Hong Kong, like they are some of the best in the world. Okay. And then, of course, to just to learn about all these initiatives, and then we need to adapt it in the Malaysian context. And of course, we must stay informed about relevant policies, regulations, and funding mechanism related to public transport development. Like, for instance, why I put a funding mechanism is because there has been a lot of debate, especially on the Penang side, where there are a lot of people, even among Transit Malaysia groups members. We have got people who like the LRT, and some people do not like the LRT. Okay, and then, of course, those people who do not like the LRT, they say that buses will be adequate. Government should pump the money into buses to buy more buses. So, you scrap the LRT, we can buy more buses. But it doesn't work that way. You see how funding works in Malaysia, where you cancel off the LRT, there goes your funding. For the funding is for the LRT only. So it doesn't like, you take this, let's say the LRT costs 10 billion Malaysian ringgit. Doesn't mean that the 10 billion is available for you to buy the buses. Meaning, for the bus, it's another fight. You need to go through another funding round for the buses. So that's why we need to get educated on this part. Okay. Then, of course, we have got this called we participate in policy making process. We need to do that because we need to engage with government agencies, policymakers, elected officials by providing our input and feedback, because we cannot just sit around. I'm sure most of you all always sit around in front of your computer on Twitter, or now they call it X, and then, of course, all the WhatsApp groups and Facebook and all that. Then we just keep on chat, keyboard warriors. A lot of talk, but it doesn't end up with the relevant people or the relevant bodies. So we need to participate. We need to engage with them. Okay, we need to attend public consultations, forums, meetings related to public transportation planning and, of course, development. Of course, it's easier said than to be done, but then we have to coordinate lah. Cari cable lah, go and attend and all that. Of course, the easiest way is to engage with us Transit lah. We sometimes do get invites and all that, and we also try to wriggle our way into a lot of all these events. And of course, we advocate for policies that prioritize the expansion, enhancement, and integration of public transportation to serve all Malaysians. So this is advocacy. This is what we do a lot. Of course, last but not least, we need to work with the local communities, because we need to collaborate with residents association, like now what we are doing with KLRA, and grassroots organizations to identify the transportation needs and priorities at neighborhood level. A lot of people miss like they think of the national level, like where what is the jajaran, or where is the LRT should go and all that, whether Penang should have it or not. But nobody actually look at the micro level, where it matters the most to the people who lives around the proposed route. Okay, and then, of course, we need to work together to develop and innovate solutions to address specific transportation issues, like in terms of first and last mile connectivity, which I spoke earlier, and of course, enhancing the accessibility for the vulnerable population, like the OKUs and all that, and also reducing traffic congestion. These are all not only at the national level or on the state level, but on your taman level, your residential level, because not all policymakers would be sensitive, or they know what are the needs of your local community, the needs of your local community lah. Okay, and then of course, by getting educated, by participating in policy making and working with local communities, we can contribute lah to the advancement of public transportation. So in this, I end my presentation and I would like to say thank you to our presenters, both Adi and Ridwan. And of course, Transit Malaysia would like to invite all Malaysians to share our vision. Um, oh, whether you are a concerned citizen, a transportation expert, a policymaker, or a student, there's a role for you to play in advancing the cause of sustainable and efficient transportation in Malaysia. So together, we can create a brighter and more connected future for all Malaysians through better transportation and mobility. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Zach, Adi, and Vidram from Transit Malaysia. So now moving on to the Q&A, as I can't see any questions from the chat, I guess, and also the time is nearly end, right? So I guess I have a question from my end. I would say it's not, I'm not being like gender biased, but what do you think about the woman only coach in the MRT? Like what is your opinion on that? Is it something good? And also many people is complaining like during peak hours the woman is not taking that seat, but they are taking the others, right? So I wanted to like get some opinions from your end. Yeah.
Okay, this is quite, if I may answer first, this is quite polarizing. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is quite a polarizing issue actually. First of all, actually, a few of us, there's quite a number of us. Not everybody agrees and not everybody disagree. So the few of us who kind of disagree and do not really like it to be implemented, especially now, our concern is due to, just now, like I've mentioned, quite a number of our MRT trains are actually not in service. And the thing is that when we do not have enough trains in service, and then you allocate a sizable portion of the train to ladies only, and they are not filling it up, like just now you have just mentioned, they are not filling it up. So it actually creates it gives us not enough capacity to address the crowding issue. Because if any of you have taken the MRT, especially during the office rush hour, you can see that it is actually very crowded. Like for instance, my Taman, I live in Klang Valley and I stay near Taman Corner MRT station. In the morning, especially between 7:30 to about 8:30 or 9 o'clock, actually I need to sometimes wait for 2 or 3 trains before I can get on. Okay, if I'm lucky, I can get on the first one, but also it's very crowded. That the further stations, like Maluri, for instance, is like, although a lot of people get down from Maluri, they want to change to the Ampang line. However, still there is a overcrowding issue, and there are people lining up, and you can see like 70-80% of the people who are lining up, they can't get on the train because of this. And of course, it's very heartbroken to see that the ladies coaches are actually not being filled up. So these are our concerns actually. Is not that we are against lady safety or whatever. That is the priority, but it's just that we think that it is just a knee-jerk stopgap reaction, that we think that they should address the number of trains in service first, and also to increase the capacity of trains before we implement measures like that that actually reduce the capacity of the number of people that the train can carry. Yeah, that's for me. Thanks.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Yeah. So one more thing I would like to add on, right, is that actually doing a women's only coach is admittedly the easiest way out, because you don't need to really enforce the rules. You don't really need to follow up the rules. Why? Because when you think of it this way, what will happen if a woman or a girl gets harassed at a normal coach? The first reaction that will happen is that you ask for it. Why? There's a women's coach there. Why are you not there? So I think it's you know, in many cases we think of it as, oh, it's a win for women's rights, but actually the people that are actually losing out are the women that we want to protect from the start. I saw there's someone raising their hands just now.
Yeah. Yan Ming? Oh, another person is
Oh.
Lam Leong King. Oh yeah, Yan Ming is asking. Right.
Yeah, I had a question which I don't know is it if applicable Klang Valley or not, because I might have an idea which might be applicable in outside Klang Valley, like in some cities like Miri or even Johor Bahru or somewhere else lah. Like, is it better to build the transport network like LRT or the commuter rails first, or with the at least a bus route before building the development, or actually build the development alongside the transport network, like alongside the constructing transport network. Like I heard like in foreign countries there are some like Hong Kong's MTR, they build their metro lines and then the development sprout along the station as part of the new station plan.
Okay, I understand. Can I answer the question? Is it okay with you all? Because I'm invested in civil engineering and all, and I kind of study a lot on the development pattern of Malaysia. The best way to improve public transport for suburban or small towns is actually first to ensure that there is a lot of connectivity outside of the town, of the town. For example, if Miri or Johor Bahru or maybe other places like Kuala Lipis want to have a very good public transport, so just link it to the national system first, which is like easiest way is to provide a highway so that express buses can go through to the city easy and frequent, so people can go to the city from outside frequently, as well as trains. For Miri, we might need to liaise with the Indonesian government because they are trying to build up the national Kalimantan train network, so we might chip in on that. For Johor Bahru, it's already a metropolis. Other cities build up the express bus first, and then ensure that the town is vibrant so that people go to the town to shop, to socialize, to go to the parks and all, and then provide buses there. A good example would be Taiping. If Taiping have a very robust bus network, people will actually go from the tamans to the town just to shopping, just to go to the park, just to go to the zoo, walk around, and then go back home. If there is bus network there, but we don't have any right now. We have only a train station there, but it still is being used quite a lot of people use that station. So yeah, by connecting the small town to other small towns and providing a simple network of transportation like bus, maybe van, maybe cycling network is enough. We are not as dense as Taiping or China, Taipei or China to build a metro from scratch and then put development there. We are not that dense as them. So we need to find our ways to go through that. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, to add on what Adi has said, right? You're saying that whether we have any developments that is developed next to the station, next to the MRT station, or you know, very high density. So if you want to look at that, you can try looking into MRT Kajang line, the entire strip that comes from Maluri all the way down to Kajang. There are actually many developments that are just beside that particular MRT. And like I'm in the US this few days, so actually I see that. Oh, I mean, but by the way, this area is San Jose, San Francisco, so the urban sprawl is so bad. um so the scenario here is basically, you can't actually see any buildings out of San Francisco and San Jose more than 3 stories tall. Everything is flat. So what happens is that, when you take a bus, when you take a LRT, it takes a very long time. For example, when I wanted to go to an event a few days ago, if I drive, I take about 20 minutes. If I take the public transport, it's about 1 hour and 40 minutes. So this is what is happening in KL also. When I want to find my girlfriend, it's 1.5 hours. If I wanted to drive, it's 40 minutes. So a sane person, given the current petrol subsidies also, will definitely drive. I can just pay 4 ringgit of toll and then I can get there much quicker. So as you can see, everything is being interlinked, and yeah, it's basically on how our politicians, how our developers, because um, just to be very blunt, our politicians are being lobbied. Lobbied is the so-called legal way to bribe, quote unquote, bribe your politicians into making policies that favor you or your company. So, yeah, you guys want to add on?
Okay, let me add on a quick one. Okay, in addition to what just now Adi have said about the intercity, to bring to get people easier into the city, into the town. I would just like to say that, of course, in smaller towns or in smaller cities, of course, to develop the bus network first is very important because, first of all, the buses are cheaper lah, compared to the rail solution. And also, of course, buses can be redeployed if the route that was assigned is not profitable or is not effective. So you can actually reassign routes and all that. Buses are flexible. However, there are certain cities in Malaysia, in my opinion, this one again, all these are very polarizing opinion, even like within transit ourselves. So like Johor Bahru and would say Penang as a whole, Georgetown and Bagan, Seberang Perai included, as a very big urban conurbation. So there are certain routes which are right for a real solution, a real transit solution. So the thing is that when we develop bigger cities, we should put money into all different modes of transportation. Meaning that, let's say, even like in KL, for instance, we cannot just say that, oh, we put all our money into buses or we put all our money into trains. We should put we should actually develop both at the same time. Just like how Hong Kong and Singapore is doing it. Actually, that's why Singapore, as much as money they pour into their train services, or even Hong Kong, their buses network are also expanding, and their buses are very good. And back to the just now the original question said about MTR, the land and all that. But you see, in Hong Kong is very different. The Hong Kong government encourages public transport to an extent that they actually give free land or very cheap land to MTR to develop. When they want to have a one station, all the land around it would be for MTR to develop, meaning that they encourage huge TOD, transit oriented development, so that when all these places are developed, and in Hong Kong it's always very compact and dense, it's very tall buildings and all that, so it encouraged people to take the train to their destination, because it's unlike here. Some of our stations are actually in very ulu places, like in the middle of nowhere, like our MRT, for instance, like Bukit Dukong and all that. So in all these cases, people need to drive to the MRT station because around it there's nothing. But in Hong Kong, it's a very different case. So that's why I would like to say that in relation to the question just now, we cannot really compare Hong Kong with Malaysia, but of course we would like to have the best practices, like my presentation. We should learn and emulate other countries, and we should implement the best practices. Thank you.
Okay, hope that answers the questions. I guess we can take one more. Just now, Lam Leong King raised his or her hand. So, do you still have a questions? Oh, Kevin Nath is raising his hand. So I guess we can take the last question from Kevin Nath. Kevin Nath, are you typing or will you unmute? Let's just wait like 2 minutes for him to type, I guess. Or it's a false alarm. Anyways, at the meantime, I guess I can share my screen to show the QR for feedback, and also according to the feedback that you guys fill in, we will take the email and deliver the digital badge accordingly, which is looking like this. Yeah.
Oh,
And
one more
speakers
thing.
now, yes.
Oh, sorry. I just like to interject. One more thing is that we have discussed, and we are making our slides available for our participants tonight also. So because we have got quite a lot of things and all that inside, and people would like to refer to, we will make it available lah. You just tell us in which format would it be like. Most probably we will give in PDF, right, Adi? I think we could, yeah. So just later you just liaise with us lah for the slides. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks for that. Not sure did Kavinath already type his questions. I think we will allow until for 9:44. If the question is still not up, then I think we can wrap up the whole event. Yeah. So for speakers, we will collect your emails later to issue this badge as well. Yeah, so don't worry. Let me check, is the question up? I don't think so. Okay, I think that's all. Thanks for attending Tech in Transportation talk. Hope everyone learned something out of it, no matter it's like technical or non-technical. I think everything shared today is pretty new to me. So thanks for the sharing for all the speakers, and thanks for attending. Have a nice day ahead. Not nice day. Enjoy your night. Yeah.
I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.